What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, joined by Tyler Stafford. Happy week one of the NFL season to all that participate. Somebody alert Nico Collins. I don't think he was aware that the season started today. To tie it all in, the Astros played a game in which Jacob deGrom pitched on Saturday. They scored 11 runs. The Texans scored 9 points today. So the Astros can take solace in the fact that they scored more in a game started by Jacob deGrom than the Texans did under their ballyhooed new look offense. That's about the most solace the Astros can take from this weekend in Arlington, which accentuated what has become their biggest flaw. They cannot consistently score runs. This is a lineup that is that is struggling to produce runs. And when you look at the lineup on paper, Tyler, when you look at the names that are in it, when you look at how it's constructed, when you look at the guys that this team employs, it's almost a little mind-boggling that they are not more productive than they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, when the lineup came out today, I was like, all right, that's about as good as it's going to get, and then they get no hit for 5 innings. It was a rough 5 or 6 hours of Houston sports watching today. Not fun to watch two teams that just cannot score at all. I mean, part of it is Altuve is in a really bad slump right now. And, there's other guys that have not consistently been able to step up. But you're right. I mean, the names in the lineup look like they should be able to score. They just haven't been. They've faced some good pitching in the past couple of days, but it's been a month and a half of just not being able to score. And I don't know what to do, but it's not fun to watch. I'm telling you that much.
You mentioned Jose Altuve. He is in a 7 for 53 funk. And in the last 2 days, we have seen like visible on-field frustration from him. There was a couple helmet slams. There was a couple bat slams after some strikeouts. We don't usually see that from Jose Altuve. Even when he's really, really going bad, he usually tends to hold it in, tends to be able to do it out. I mean, all these guys get mad. All these guys have to take out their anger somewhere. Jose is one of those guys that usually can do it outside of the view of the cameras. He was not able to do that in Arlington this weekend. And it's unfair to put it all on him. It's unfair to say Jose Altuve has to get going for the whole lineup to get going, but he's a big part of what they're doing. I mean, he's hitting third every night. He can be their igniter. He can be the guy that, when he is going, they are deadly. And it's too simple to say that just fixing him will fix the problem. But you look and you mentioned that, this weekend was not good. They faced Jacob deGrom on Saturday. Obviously, they somehow scored 11 runs. Friday, they faced Merrill Kelly, who, again, a veteran pitcher that's been around that knows how to pitch. Like, I mean, this is not – they weren't facing scrubs. And also, let's remember now, the Rangers do have the lowest ERA in baseball. If they do one thing, they pitch it really well. So not that excuses it. Joe Espada after the game on Friday, before we get in, like, I do need to say this real quick. Everyone is starting to kind of hang. We're at the point in the year now where fans are hanging on like every word that Joe Espada says post game, every word Dana Brown says when he goes on the radio, every word the players say. Like, I get it. I understand it. Gone are the days of people in management positions, Joe Espada, Dana Brown. Gone are the days of them going on the record and just obliterating their team. Like, they're not going to sit here and say, oh, Jose Altuve sucks right now, so we got to get him going. Like, no. Like, Joe, they're saying what they have to say, guys. Like, when Joe Espada says he likes the at-bats and he likes the approach and they're one swing away, like, sure, he believes that. But, like, guys, he's not stupid. Like, deep down, like, he understands that they've got to be better. They've got to score runs. Today, actually, after the game, all the focus was on Framber, who we'll get to in a minute. But Joe Espada did say, it's plain and simple. We got to take better at-bats. And that's about as blunt as he's been about the situation, which – Tyler, as you mentioned, has stretched far beyond just this weekend. They have played since they acquired Ramon Urias Carlos Correa and Jesus Sanchez at the trade deadline, they have played 35 games. They have scored 3 or fewer runs in 17 of those games. That is a stretch in which they got Jordan Alvarez back. It's a stretch in which they got Jeremy Pena back from the injured list. You mentioned they got Jake Myers back today. They've been close to, if not as full strength as they can be since the trade deadline, and it has just not translated into consistent production. And everyone wants to know kind of why, what the root causes. Everyone's looking at chase rates. And yes, this team chases. I think only the Rockies have a higher chase rate than them. Yes, this team sees the second fewest pitches per plate appearance in baseball. We've been over that. This is an aggressive team. I can't put my finger on it. Like I can't pick out one thing to say if they fix this, it's solved. And Christian Walker actually said after the game on Friday, like, if we had an answer, if we knew how to fix it, we'd have fixed it already. So I think right now they're kind of in that mode of just kind of searching to figure out, is this just a very, very bad valley in a season of peaks and valleys, or is this what they are? Is this 144, 145 games into the season? Is this just what this lineup is?
That's the hard part about watching baseball, is so much of it really is random, and it's hard to like remind yourself of that, because yes, Altuve chases pitches and he looks silly, but sometimes he chases a pitch and he pokes it down the left field line for a double, and you clap for him and you go, there's Jose Altuve, the Hall of Famer. And sometimes he misses it by 2 feet and you're like, has this guy ever played baseball in his life? And same thing with Yiner. He's going to swing at that first pitch if it is anywhere in the vicinity of the batter's box, not even the plate, just if it's near him, he's going to swing at it. And sometimes he rips it and sometimes he doesn't. And when you have a lineup of 9 guys that do that, when they're all struggling, or when they're all in kind of these valleys like we've seen, it just looks bad. They just can't score. But at the same time, on Tuesday, that exact same lineup can go out and can start a run where they score 10 runs a game for a week straight, because they have the potential to do that. Again, it's not a lineup that you look at and just go like, there's no talent here, there's no redeeming qualities of this lineup. They've got good hitters in there, and they've got guys who have shown that they're good hitters this year. It's just they haven't been able to piece it together, and that's just what baseball looks like sometimes. And that's why, like we always say, with the playoffs in mind, it's just a matter of getting there, because in a 5-game series, that lineup could absolutely score 8 runs a game in a 5-game series, and you would not bat an eye. It would make total sense for that to happen. Or they could score 3 runs over a 5-game series, and you can write all the narratives you want in your head about whatever. But that's just what it looks like sometimes, and it's just a matter of getting as many guys in there who are good and hoping for the best. And that's a frustrating thing to come to terms with as a fan that watches. But what else are you going to do? The Astros roster is better than it was 2 months ago. Just unequivocally, you would rather have this lineup going out every day than you did in June. And in June, they looked like the best team in baseball, but they don't right now. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where it feels kind of contagious. They just, if they can rip off a 5-game win streak and everybody starts, it does feel contagious where it just gets going. People can kind of relax. They don't, feel like they have to manufacture runs. They just get up there and swing. But you're right. There's not like a fix for it. You don't look at it and go like, oh, well, this is the problem. If they just cut back on this, that's it. It's, that's how baseball looks sometimes. And it's frustrating right now for sure.
I think the one thing that I would point to as just maybe a stat or a number that encapsulates kind of their issues. This is a team that historically, since this golden era started, they have preached passing the baton. It's cliched, it's trite, but that's how they view their offensive approach. They just want good at bat after good at bat, pass the baton, get guys on, move runners, things like that. The Astros have a 315 on base percentage with runners on base. So their lineup has a 315 on base percentage and at bats with runners on base. There are only 3 teams in baseball with a lower on base percentage with runners on base. It's the Cleveland Guardians, who have not had a good offense in 15 years, the Rockies, who may be the worst team, one of the worst teams ever assembled, and the Baltimore Orioles, who traded half their roster at the deadline, and the rest of the guys now are like some good prospects and some quad A guys. That to me starts to explain this. They'll get guys on base, and then you'll see guys expand the strike zone. You'll see guys get too big, guys try to do too much. You'll see, Jose Altuve comes up with a couple guys on, and look, he's going to swing it. He's going to swing early in the count. He's not going to be a guy that sits there and sees 6 or 7 pitches. Same thing with Yainer Diaz. Like, when those guys come up, like, they better pick the right pitch to swing at. And Yainer's kind of a different case because he's a younger guy, but I trust Jose Altuve to pick the right pitch to swing at. Like, I mean, the guy's going to walk into the Hall of Fame whenever he retires. Like, I give him the benefit of the doubt in this situation. That he'll get out of this slump, and I give him the benefit of the doubt that he'll figure out, what is a good pitch to swing at. But it's just it's been a very just kind of stop and start kind of year for them. They have never found the consistency that I think they wanted. Part of that is injury related. Like, you don't have Yordan Alvarez for 100 games. Jeremy Pena misses a couple months. Jake Myers misses a couple months. Isaac Paredes is out now. Like, part of it has just been they've been juggling just so many moving parts, so many guys hitting in different spots. Joe's having to do a lot of different mixing and matching with his lineup. I'm not smart enough to know if that makes a difference. If having moving guys around so drastically really does make a difference. But I mean, Tyler, like we just mentioned, they've settled into a pretty consistent lineup against again, Jesus Sanchez is not going to play against left-handed pitching. So yes, the lineups are going to look different based on what hand the pitcher throws with, but they've pretty much since the deadline settled in on a lineup against right-handed pitching and left-handed pitching, and it hasn't helped. If anything, it's been worse. And it's been confounding because they went into the deadline wanting to bolster the lineup. And I'm not sitting here saying that Correa, Jesus Sanchez, or Ramon Urias are to blame, but it's a tough look optically when you say that the deadline, your goal is to fortify the lineup. And then since the deadline, you've had what is statistically one of the least productive lineups in sport.
Yeah. And I think that is where you could point to an approach issue. Is it does feel like when there are runners on, pitchers are not having to work as hard on a lot of the guys in the lineup because they do know that, they're going to swing at just about anything. They're extending. So with Yainer, you can throw a slider 3 feet into the left-handed batter's box and he's going to swing at it. And with Altuve, you can throw pitches in on him and he's going to roll over to the left side of the infield and hit into a double play. That happens more often than not, it seems, as you watch them. And so that is a scenario where, yeah, if you're coming up with nobody on, do whatever you want. You have your kind of natural approach. You do what you want. But that is a place where maybe you have a conversation with the team of, hey, look, when you're coming up with runners on, pitchers are changing their approach to you relative to when you're coming up with nobody on. And so you need to adjust back to that. So maybe take a couple pitches or look to go the other way with it or look to lift the ball. Again, these guys are professional hitters. They know what they're doing, but that is an issue when they're not able to move these runners in. And like I said, it feels like the opposing pitchers are not worried when there are runners on, with the exception of Yordan. who is the scariest hitter I've ever seen, and they just avoid him at all costs. And I don't blame them, because I would not want to throw anything near the plate with Jordan up. But outside of that, there's nobody in the Astros lineup who has that. And I hate to give blood to the YouTube comment sharks here, but there's no like Michael Brantley in the lineup where you're just, this guy is a professional hitter. Like, there's an approach here. That there's like a thought process and strategy behind it. It does just seem like there's a lot of guys going up there free swinging, and when that works, it works. But when it doesn't, it looks ugly. And there's just a lot of that in the Astros lineup right now.
I think you just hit on something right there. Like, when it's not working, I mean, against DeGrom on Saturday, like, they were swinging early in the count because you have to, because he walks like one dude per 9 innings. Like, you got to swing early in the count. They were, in the second time through, he started making some mistakes. They changed their approach. Joe Espada even walked us through how they changed their approach against him the second time through, because they saw it was slider heavy the first time, and they picked a different quadrant to look for. They saw pitches there. They went up the middle. They were able to get to him a little bit early, and then they beat the hell out of the Rangers bullpen. Like, they do this. Like, I think to insinuate that they just go up there with zero plan and zero approach is not accurate. Like, I know it's not, but it's one thing to have that. It's one thing to know when you're going up there, like, all right, this dude likes to throw off speed early in the count, then comes back with heaters when he's up 2 strikes or something. It's one thing to go up there. It's nothing to execute it. It's another thing to, like, when the ball is coming at you, or when you see it, like, oh man, like that's what I want to swing at. Like, it's another thing to put it into practice. So again, I don't think this is like an all systems breakdown panic sort of thing. I think this is a lineup that has really, really, really missed Isaac Paredes. I think the last, 2.5 months that he's been out, I think we've really seen that, just how much they have. Because the one thing Paredes could do, he hit in the top half of the order. Like, you knew he was, barring something cataclysmic, you knew he was going to see at least 3 to 5 pitches. So the pitcher would have to work, and then he'd be fatigued when the next guy comes up. He'd be worn out, and then like that's how the ambushing starts. So they've got to get it figured out. But I think Carlos Correa said something pretty interesting after the game on Friday. I asked him, like, you sense guys are pressing? He said, there's guys in here that have won multiple championships. Like, we're not pressing in the regular season. Like, a regular season game's not going to make us press. And so again, I think this is a team that plays its best when its back is against the wall. It plays its best when, the spotlight is on them, and there is, there's stakes, there's high stakes in these. And I'm not dismissing the stakes of these games in September, but they still do have a 2.5 game lead. They still have about 90% odds to make the playoffs. Like, this is not a situation where they're in do or die time yet, but they don't turn it around. Could get there pretty quick. We will discuss how the Astros threw the ball this weekend right after this message from our friends at DraftKings. NFL fans, week 1 is your shot to play free and stack $1 million cash bag with DraftKings Pick Six. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app, enter for free, and pick more or less on 6 player stats for week 1. Share your link with friends and add more cash to the bag. Hit all 6 picks, and you could be splitting a bag that's already at $1 million. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app, use code FOUL, opt in for free, and start stacking entries for NFL Week 1. Zero cost, huge upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick Six, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. Must claim token for free entry in Bag Builder contest. Only perfect entries can earn share of cash prizes. Tokens are single use and expire September 8th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
We mentioned Jacob deGrom's name a lot in the first segment. Hunter Brown is a dude. Like, Jacob, he is now. This is now twice that Hunter Brown has match Jacob deGrom pitch for pitch in a game, really outpitched him in both games. The Rangers won their meeting in May. Again, I don't think even Hunter would say that Saturday was some of his best stuff. You've seen him be more dominant. You've seen him, the fastball velocity was a tick down. You've seen even the fastball be a little more, heavy on hitters. You've seen him have more efficient outings, strike out more guys. But I mean, the epitome of an ace is a guy that can go out there when, pardon my French, when shit's hitting the fan, which at the time he stepped on the mound, it was. They had the cross-up controversy. They had lost in 12 innings the night before. It didn't look good. It was bad. And he got on that mound and he put that team on his shoulders and he threw 95 pitches, looked at Joe Espada and said, I'm going back out there. And Joe Espada said, okay, son, go ahead. And I think that was a very fitting thing because, he's earned that now. We're to the point where we're past this is like a novelty. We're past Hunter Brown's having a nice little breakout. It's a nice little run for Hunter Brown. No. This is like bona fide ace stuff. You don't get to do that. You don't get to dictate how your outing goes. You don't get to, for lack of a better word, boss the manager around and say, I'm going back out there, get away from me. Hunter Brown did that. He went back out in the 6th inning, threw a season high 107 pitches, 6 scoreless innings, just the epitome of an ace. And I think it's without question, if the Astros do make the playoffs and they're able to, line their pitching up how they want, you're giving him the ball in game 1.
100%. And I completely agree that the quote after the game of him saying, I'm going back out there, that's even better than the result of the game, that he looks at the team that, like you said, went 12 innings the day before, hadn't had an off day in a while, needed him to go out and, really we're hoping to get 7 from him, but had only gotten 5 at that point. But for him to just say, I'm going back out, get out of my way, that's leadership. That's an ace. And to go out and back it up, put another 0 up there and come back to the dugout. The players see that fires them up. When you can call your shot like that, that's huge. And yes, absolutely, he is your game 1 starter if you can line that up.
Yeah, and that's going to be going down the stretch. That's going to be the most fascinating part of these next 18 games. Are the Astros going to be able to, on that last road trip to California, are they going to be able to maneuver their pitching staff how they want? Are they going to have to stay in rotation because they don't have things locked up? Because I think we all understand that the most straightforward path for this team to advance anywhere in the playoffs is to score some runs. But in the absence of that, it's giving the baseball to Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez as many times as you can. We'll talk about Framber a little bit later, but I wrote after the game about Hunter Brown. It's interesting to examine or just say that he bolstered his Cy Young candidacy when he's not going to win it. Let's be adults here. Tarek Skubal is going to run away with this thing, barring, again, I think they're both going to make 3 more starts in the regular season, unless Tarek Skubal just absolutely falls on his face. He's going to win the Cy Young. He's going to be the first pitcher since Pedro Martinez to win back-to-back Cy Young awards in the American League. So good for him. The Astros, however, would very much like for Hunter Brown to finish in the top 3 of American League Cy Young voting because, as we've discussed, he is PPI eligible, and this is his last year of PPI eligibility. So if he finishes top 3 in the Cy Young voting this year, the Astros do get a draft pick next season. And when you start to look at kind of where he sits, so after that outing, he's got a 2.25 ERA. Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens, the only 2 guys in the big leagues with a lower one. Skubal's is at 2.10. There were after Saturday. I'm using that frame of reference after Saturday because I haven't added in all the games from today. There were 7 other starters in the American League that had thrown more innings than Hunter Brown after Saturday. 6 of them have an ERA of 2.67 or higher. Now, bear in mind, Hunter Brown has a 2.25 ERA. So you've got that. Brian Wu, Jacob deGrom, and Skubal all have a lower WHIP than Hunter Brown. Skubal, deGrom, and Carlos Rodon all have a lower batting average against than Hunter Brown. It's going to come down to like, what do voters care about? There's 30 BBWA members that vote for the Cy Young Award. Every one of them have different criteria. Some of them value workload. Some of them value strikeouts. Some of them value ERA. Some of them are going to look at FIP. Some of them are going to look at xFIP. Some of them are going to look at do they pitch for a good team or a bad team. It really is 30 different sets of what is important. But I think any way you slice it, Tyler, like it'd be a travesty at this point. Again, he's got 3 more starts, so a lot of things can happen. But you start to look at it. It's got to be, Hunter Brown, Garrett Crochet, and Tarek Skubal are the 3 that have kind of separated themselves. Jacob deGrom's in there. His numbers are insane, but he hasn't thrown enough. He hasn't thrown as many innings. Same thing with Nathan Eovaldi, who's on the IL and not going to pitch again this season, but the innings are going to be a concern for him. But I think the most well-rounded candidates are the 3 I just mentioned: Tarek Skubal, Hunter Brown, and Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, Skubal's going to run away with it, but I would imagine the vast majority of the ballots have Hunter Brown second, just based on, both ERA and even, like you mentioned, deGrom has been fantastic, but his ERA is 2.78, and he has a lower strikeout per 9 than Hunter Brown. It's not like there's any one number you could point to of any of these guys and say, like, if this is all you care about as a voter, you're definitely going to have him above Hunter Brown. Like, Hunter Brown's going to finish second in the Cy Young, or at the very least third. Just because there's no argument to be made. I mean, he's been the second or third best pitcher in the American League for, the entire season. And yeah, I mean, you're going to have some strays where somebody has somebody ranked higher than Brown by like 1 slot, probably on a handful of ballots, but the vast majority of them are going to have him 2, maybe 3. And yeah, I mean, he's just been incredible. And they mentioned what's it called? PIP? What's the thing called? PPI. They mentioned that on the Fox broadcast on the national game. Ken Rosenthal just said, "Just trust me. I'm not going to bother to explain this, but just trust me. If he finishes in the top 3, the Astros get a pick," and they left it at that, which is, true. We spent about half an hour explaining it before the year, and it boils down to just trust us. The Astros will get a pick after the first round if Hunter Brown finishes in the top 3 of the Cy Young, and barring any major changes, that is going to happen.
You consume a lot more I maybe more like national baseball just content than I do, Tyler, just in general. Does Hunter get maybe the recognition that he deserves, or is he still trailing by? Just obviously, like, everyone knows who Skubal is, everyone knows who deGrom is, and I mean, for good reason. deGrom's 37 years old and was the best pitcher on the planet like 5 years ago. Like, Crochet gets a lot of run just for he plays in a big market. He was a quick riser. Was in a big trade this offseason. Does Brown get the notoriety that maybe his numbers warrant, or is he not there yet?
I would say pitchers in general get less notoriety than they warrant, just on a national level, outside of, Ohtani or Skubal or somebody like that. It's just harder to post a highlight of pitchers. And so I think on the internet, it's just harder to see those things. But I listen to a lot of the opposing teams' radio broadcasts, and they always talk about Hunter Brown. Like that is someone that everybody is aware of. So I would say, maybe not quite at the level of like this guy is locked in as one of the, a lot of times they talk about him as like, this guy is quickly becoming one of the better pitchers. And I would argue like it's not a becoming anymore. Like he just is one of the better pitchers in the league. But that's like the worst that you hear people say is like, he is on his way to becoming one of the best pitchers in the league. I think he gets plenty of recognition and it's obviously deserved.
You want a hot take?
Mm-hmm.
HEB commercials next year.
Oh, mm-hmm.
I think he's got to be. I think he's got to be in them, right?
Hunter E. Brown.
I think he's
changed his middle name.
He's earned it, right?
Oh,
like
for
that's
sure.
that's going to help the notoriety. But if he gets on HEB billboards and if he's like dancing with Altuve in an ad for like tortilla chips, like that's going to help. But
so when we were I went to the Labor Day game with Olivia, my 5-year-old, and we've talked about this before, but all she cares about is orbit the whole time. She loves whenever the Astros get a strikeout and the astronaut K counter comes up. She always like, Dad, look, astronauts. And the third thing that she noted, as soon as we sat down, she pointed to right field and said HEB. She recognized the sign out there. So yeah, I agree. If he can get on some HEB commercials, maybe Olivia will start respecting him a little bit more.
Did you explain to her who plays right field?
Oh, we've talked about that. Yeah, we went over there and sat there. She loves Altuve. She knows that's my friend. She'll point out anytime he comes up. But yeah, we'll have to get her clued in on Cam Smith some more. What a hit! Shout out Cam Smith. That was a rip.
It was enjoyable to see someone that has struggled for as long as he has. Like I posted it on X and I fully like that was 2.5 months of just pent up. I don't know if it was rage, emotion, elation, just relief, all into one. And he just absolutely, and the dugout loved it too. Like it was a good moment for him. And I mean, he killed that ball. It was like 105 off the bat. If he hits that to anywhere else in the ballpark, it's a homer. And I mean, too, that's a situation too. Like if he makes a playoff roster, like that's what he's going to be doing. Like he's going to be pinch hitting for Jesus Sanchez against a lefty late in the game. And that's a good first test to pass.
That dude can fly.
Yes.
He is so fast, which is what he's huge. Like I mean, he is so fast. And yeah, I mean, his swing is also very pretty. Like I mean, I'm aware that the results have not been there recently, but he has a very good looking swing. Eno Saris of The Athletic, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, has like a swing plus stat, like the bat tracking stat. And Cam Smith was like in the top 10 as far as like just how you would ideally form a swing. Like he has a very, very nice swing. It's nice to see for him. I was excited. And yeah, man, he was booking it out of out of the batter's box there. So that was good to see. Not a lot of fun things to watch this weekend that were not Astros related. There were a lot of fun things outside of that. Were you guys in the press box? How did the news spread of the Dodgers implosion in the press box?
Well, that was on the night Hunter pitched. So
yeah,
I was like,
it happened during the game, right?
Right.
I mean, it was like, yeah.
I was like, I'll peel back the curtain. Like once Hunter left the game, I like stopped watching the game, like, and just was writing. Like I'd look up every now and then to like see who was hitting, like where they were in the lineup, things like that. But like I was kind of just like had my head down, like getting some stuff done. And then like I kept flipping over and like our Athletic Slack kept like pinging with like, he's 4 outs away through, and they were making coverage plans.
Yeah.
So I'm here presuming that, it's Yamamoto against the Orioles. Like he's going to get it. And then like, I think I saw a Twitter notification from like Passan or somebody. Passan like posted all I saw was like Yoshinobu Yamamoto was 1 out away from a no-hitter. And I was like, oh, like he must have not gotten it. That sucks. And then like I opened it and it was like, and the Dodgers lost. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
yep. That ruled.
Happened.
Have you been keeping up with the the Mariners fan who purchased an Etsy witch to help fix the Mariners.
No.
Yes.
What the hell is an Etsy witch?
Well, Etsy is just the site. You can go on there and pay someone for a spell. And he posted his name is not Bob Ross on Twitter, but on September 5th, he says, I have paid an Etsy witch to help the Mariners. Besties help me manifest. And then he posted the screenshot of it. And then today, the Mariners won 18-2, and the official Mariners Twitter account posted a picture of the final score and said, shout out to the Etsy witch, which rules. That's so funny. So, you know, that is a saga I will be keeping up with. Very funny.
You said paying an Etsy witch. That sounds like something that'll get you put in jail.
Well, you can pay. It was $20 with a $5 off coupon. So this man paid $15 for someone on the internet to put a spell on the Mariners, and it worked. They won 18-2 today. So try anything, because playing baseball has not worked for them. Like, how bad are the Mariners that the Astros are terrible and they're still 2.5? Like, this is objectively the worst Astros team of the last 10 years, and they just keep leading the division. Like, if the Mariners can't win it this year, I got bad news for you.
Fold the franchise. If they can't win it this year, fold.
Like, what are you doing? You're going to have a guy that probably might win the MVP or at least finish second. He's got 53 home runs. You got Julio Rodriguez in his prime. Got a whole lineup full of guys. Got 4 really good starting pitchers, and they're still 2.5 games. Well,
their starting pitching is falling
allegedly, but they've got all of that going for them. The worst Astros team that's been around in the last 10 years, and they still cannot catch up yet. Now, could have, they can go on an 11-game run here. They've got the talent to do it, but it's wild that they have not overtaken the Astros. Like, that is, if you can't do it this year, I don't know what to tell you.
I have an AL MVP vote this year, so I'm going to have to recuse myself from any discussions about who is going to or not going to win the AL MVP.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a tough one for me, just in general, figuring out what to do with that.
Springer's getting up there.
Yeah.
Good
Bobby
for him.
Wood, Maikel Garcia randomly.
Sure.
Terrence Skubal even. Sure. We'll talk about Framber right after this message from our friends at right after this message from our friends at Foul Territory.
FT fam, designer clothes can be expensive, but we want our clothes to look good. We want to feel good. We want them to be affordable. And Kratz, if you tell me that I can wear a t-shirt that looks like it's tailored, but it's not actually tailored, and it just comes that way, then sign me up for True Classic.
Have to. You got to sign up for it, because these shirts are soft, they're thin, they're durable, and they're very versatile. You can wear them to the gym. You can wear them out to a nice dinner. Let's get after it, because these shirts are the real deal.
They are. Check it out. I've got one of the performance ones. It's a nice blue, fits well. I can go to the gym. I can go out. I can do FT in a shirt like this. FT fam, there's a reason why True Classic has sold over 25 million shirts to more than 5 million customers, and they are racking up over 200,000 5-star reviews. See for yourself with our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/foul to save. That's trueclassic.com/FOUL.
So Framber Valdez pitched again today. It was fine. It was what happened in his last start is only going to make the reactions to everything he does more outsized. Everyone freaked out today because he gave up 4 runs in 7 innings. That is, he pitched fine today. Like, he was not the reason they lost the game today. He made one bad pitch. He threw a flat changeup to Jake Berger, who hit a 2-run home run to the opposite field. He pitched fine. Now the bigger stuff was, he talked after the game, said that while he didn't address the clubhouse again after the cross-up stuff, did say, he was asked, maybe what he learned from that instance, what happened with Cesar Salazar. He said, I learned not to get frustrated, not to go crazy, and just focus on the next hitter and the next pitch I'm going to throw. And then he also said that he made it a priority to come in today and, in his words in Spanish, be more chill. He wanted to be more chill today. And again, it's one game. Don't want to make any more of it, but a lot of stuff went wrong for him today. Like the first run scored on a wild pitch that Yainer Diaz should have caught, but didn't. Yainer Diaz fell down running to get the baseball and then threw it off of Jonah Heim's back. Should be noted that Framber Valdez did back up home plate in this whole scenario, which is something he doesn't usually do. Dylan Moore scored from second base. That is the kind of thing that in the past has allowed him to unravel a little bit. Kept his composure, kept it going. Gave up the home run to Jake Berger to go down 4-1. Got the next guy out on the next pitch, or I think he got the next guy out like 2 pitches later. And then he went back out for the 7th inning, got 3 outs. Again, if his objective today was to show that he can be chill and calm and keep his focus, he passed. It was a good first step. It was a good first step in proving that because, and I kind of weaved this story of this detail into my story today. In that 6th inning that he gave up the 3 runs, and the Globe Life Field press box, they have like TVs everywhere that just have the game. Most press boxes do, but in Globe Life, like they have one. You can't look up without seeing like 3 huge TVs that are playing the game. And throughout that 6th inning, when they weren't showing the game going on, like Framber pitching to whoever was hitting, they were alternating shots of Cesar Salazar on the bench, Joe Espada like managing the game, and then showing what happened last week. So all that to say, this is going to be something that carries with him for the rest of the season. And the only way he is going to even attempt to start shedding that and to get away from that is to not let anything affect him, not let anything that happens in the game affect him. And for the first time out, for having to, when he knew all eyes were going to be on him today, for how he bounced back, you have to give him credit. He pitched pretty well, and he was able to control himself.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to get through. I like the be chill comment. I mean, it's almost confirmation that what we said last week, where he's like, I got to learn to control my emotions and not get frustrated, all this. Well, I'm like, well, if it was a mix up, that's not the lesson that you would learn from that, but whatever. It seems like it's fine. I mean, he looked fine today. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I mean, it is a concern. They're 1-6 in his last 7.
I think they're 1-7. I think they're 1-7. Yeah.
So, you got to turn it around. But of course, if the Astros score 5 runs today, you don't have to worry about that. Hopefully there's a lesson learned. I did see the report that one team has decided they're out on Framber, which I assume is like the Pirates, who cares? They're not actually in anyway. That's not a real thing to be concerned about. But yeah, you just hope that he can find it and can I don't know, can get through the rest of this season to put up the starts that you expect from Framber. And like we said, maybe when the lights are on him and, like the rest of the Astros and maybe in the playoffs, something can click where there's that adrenaline and there's that pressure, and that's what's needed. I mean, again, like you can absolutely envision a scenario where Framber goes 8 innings and strikes out 14 and gives up 1 run in a playoff game. And you're like, yeah, of course he did that. Like, that's what Framber does. You just hope you get that version of him and not a different version. But yeah, it was at the very least, it was good to bounce back and not have like an implosion game. That could have been really rough to deal with. So you're right. At least we were able to make it through that start today. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Astros have to score runs, and they're just not doing that.
Yeah, they're 1-7 in his last 8 starts, and in those starts, the Astros have scored 1 run, 4 runs, 0 runs, 2 runs. They scored 4 runs in the win. They scored 1 run against the Yankees in the implosion start, and then they scored 2 runs today. So it hasn't been really for lack of Framber. It really hasn't been Framber's fault per se that they're 1-7 in his last 8 starts. But yeah, I mean, like if you watch today's game and you exited that game blaming Framber Valdez for what happened, then you need to reevaluate how you watch baseball, or you just need to admit that like you just have a problem with the pitcher himself, which is, I mean, fine. That's fine. If that's your prerogative, go ahead. I'm not going to say much about this because I don't really care and I don't want to keep this topic going, but like I have a hard time believing that that is going to like seriously impact him in free agency for the only reason, like this is professional sports. Like how many professional sports teams have signed like legitimately like convicted criminals to play for them? Like the Houston Texans have a running back on their team that was caught on camera beating a woman. Like I don't think something that you can see that you don't know what the intent was. Like, look, it was not good what Framber Valdez may or may not have done. The optics were awful. No one will ever know the true intent. I have a hard time believing that it is going to seriously impact him. Will teams have questions, and will teams want to sit down with him and, you know, have maybe a deeper conversation with him than they would some other prospective free agents? Sure. Yes. I'm sure this will lead to that, but I have a hard time believing that this is going to like seriously be like teams are like, oh no, we're not going to pursue him. We're not going to no, I have a very hard time believing that.
Of course. I mean, look no further than the Astros and the trades that they have made for people who, again, have done far worse things in the scale of humanity than what Framber has done. I mean, shoot, every time I get online, I see Aroldis Chapman hadn't given up a hit in 50 at-bats, and the man fired a gun into a ceiling out of anger. So, you know, you're right. That is not, that's not seriously impacting him.
No, I don't think so. But like I said on Foul Territory the other day, it's not going to be with the Astros. Like they're not. He's not.
They weren't going to anyway, but they're definitely not now.
No. And like I said, then like they weren't bringing him back, but I've had that opinion since like February 15th when they reported to camp. Like nothing that's happened in the last week has altered that. It's just, I mean, he's going to want and he's going to get a lot of money, and the Astros do not pay starting pitchers a lot of money. Not that amount of money that he's going to want. So,
well, I mean, to give you just to give you Framber, I would argue that most people who watch the Astros and Framber would classify this as a down season for Framber. I mean, it's still a good season overall, but it is not up to the standards of like peak Framber that you would expect. He is 4th in the American League in Fangraphs pitching WAR. Like he's still one of the best pitchers in the league, and he hasn't even been that great relative to what you would expect from Framber. He's going to get a ton of money. That's what's going to happen because his arm is made of rubber and he can throw 200 innings a year. And even in bad years, he's still really, really good. And somebody's going to pay for it. It's not going to be the Astros, and it's not going to be the one mystery team out there who has decided that they're not interested. But yeah, he will get signed somewhere.
If you don't have a ton of money and you're interested, you can shop crushcityterritoryshop.com. You don't need a ton of money to go get whatever you want at crushcityterritoryshop.com. Backpacks, duffel bags, lightweight hoodies, water bottles, t-shirts, beanies, hats, trucker hats, and fitted hats, spiral notebooks, coffee mugs, whatever your heart desires. If you're on YouTube right now, you can scan there, go to crushcityterritoryshop.com and shop to your heart's content. You can spend less money than Framber Valdez will get in free agency. The Astros and myself will head to Canada tomorrow, Monday, to play 3 games against George Springer, Miles Straw. Will Wagner's not there anymore. Joey Lopofito's in the minors. Jake Bloss is arm is in a sling. James Click's there. So
Mhm.
a lot of Astros connections in Toronto at the Rogers Center against the Toronto Blue Jays in what is that's going to be another tough series. I mean, the Blue Jays, depending on how you view the Tigers, Blue Jays may be the best team in the American League. They put the ball in play. They are a relentless offense. They've got a rotation that is very veteran. No real standout, like, oh my God, this dude is incredible. But they just got a lot of veterans in that rotation that know how to pitch. Their bullpen has been an adventure lately. So the Astros can commiserate with having a bullpen that's an adventure. So two teams that, the Astros are going to have to pitch well. They're not going to throw Framber or Hunter Brown in this series. So it'll be Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, and Jason Alexander pitching in some order in this series. I think Garcia is going to pitch the first game. And then after that, they'll set the rotation. But I'll be in Canada. We will have on Tuesday, we'll have Mitch Bannon from The Athletic on the pod to preview Astros Blue Jays. He will give us a George Springer status update, give us a Miles Straw vibes check. Love those guys. Can't wait to see them. But until then, you can follow me on X at Chandler_Rome. You can follow Tyler at Tyler C. Stafford. Please rate and review us on Apple. Please do the same on Spotify, where you can leave some comments on the episodes if you so choose. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get notified every time we post a new video. And when you do watch videos on YouTube, please like the videos. That helps a lot, helps our reach a lot. As always, we appreciate you guys listening. And like I said, we will be back on Tuesday to talk about the Astros north of the border.
If you want to win in Canada, you have to bring your A game. Bye.